Hello, my lion friends. Before we really get into this reading, I think it might be a good idea for you to stop and think about what the lion means to you. So, I'll read the cards, of course, but what's most important is not what somebody else thinks these cards mean, but what you think they mean. Okay? If this reading is for you. You may, look at it and say, nope, lion, nothing to do with me, nothing at all. Well, maybe that's true. Now, the reason that you should first think about what it means to you, maybe it doesn't mean anything, in which case, you can just go with the reading meaning. But if it does have some personal meaning for you, you should take that into account during the reading or throughout the reading. Because what it means for you personally, that personal meaning, is what's most important. Now, I don't usually bring this up because, well, it's always true. In this particular reading, the lion has come out twice already. I've barely started. We've got a lion here and we've got a lion here, which tells me that this really matters to somebody. This is a really important symbol to somebody. It really means something. Probably more than what will come out. So make sure you don't overlook your own personal thoughts, feelings, perceptions, if this reading is for you. Okay, so let's get into it. So first of all, the lion is in the fire element. If I can get to the right chapter. There we go. Okay. Patient, regal, a complete master. The lion is a master of the fire element and living mascot of self-transformation. A lion personality dedicates their life to personal and spiritual growth. This dedication inspires some and intimidates others. Therefore, the lion is respected by all, but known intimately by few. Some mistake the lion as hard to access or aloof, yet those with a keener eye know better. Lions are observant, stealthy, and precise in their words and actions. They do not waste energy or resources. This card reminds us that self-mastery is available to all, no matter where our quest begins. Okay, when in balance, the epitome of peace and strength. When out of balance, withdrawn and too serious. To bring into balance, daily meditation and friendship. So this is strongly suggesting that you're a bit of a loner, whether by choice or not. Now, the next thing to come up. Okay, so these cards, the tea leaf cards, are meant to help you determine whether or not this is your reading. And everything that they have to say should be in some way familiar to you, not a surprise. So first up, we have the claw. Be careful, do not take risks. Dolphin, financial gain, usually coming from something you did in the past. And over here you have opportunity or windfall. But we also have fly, a period of ill health and depression. Bat, take care, enemies are working against you, and time to act, and it looks like you really want to attack these enemies. I'm not saying you should. I'm not at all certain that's the correct approach, but I'm not living your life. However, you did get a bonus 7th card, and it said successful outcome to your problems. Oh, I forgot. The second line says time to act. All right, so definitely a mixed bag here. So some sort of financial gain coming from the past, or something you did in the past. and a successful outcome to your problems. But watch out. Okay, let's take a look at some tarot cards. And I'm going to go with, I think it's called 78 Tarot. I don't know. I don't know the name of this deck. So sorry. What does the reader have on their minds? What's brought them here? Not the reader, the viewer. Wow, did I say reader? Wow. Okay, what does the viewer have on their mind? What has brought the viewer here today? The lion person. Interesting. We got the Magician. So you have been working on self-mastery. Magician is about self-mastery. Magician is an alchemist. So they are working to master all 4 elements so that they can gain the ability to work with the forces of the universe to create their reality. So the Magician has the lemniscate, which stands for infinity. We have swords, pentacles, wands, and cups. And he's also holding the world in his hand. So we have the universe, we have the world, and we have the ability to work with all the elements, as above, so below, to transmute and co-create with the universe. Now this card is unique to this deck, and as you can, or maybe you can't see, it says ancestors. So perhaps that's important to you. Perhaps you feel that your ancestors are looking out for you. Or there's, again, something, you had all this stuff about something from the past. And the Nine of Pentacles. Interesting. So, the Nine of Pentacles actually really lines up well with this lion person, as described in Kim Kranz's book. This is someone, you, who has developed a lot of self-mastery and who has spent a lot of time alone, because that is how you do it. Distractions do not help with self-mastery. So it's not really that these things are bad, it's just that they're distractions. And yet you're feeling overburdened. Considering dropping those wands, considering a new way, a new approach to things. So becoming the lion, this master, is not an easy process. So I'm not surprised by the Depression card. That could easily be referring to a dark night of the soul. I've heard other names that I can't recall off the top of my head. Ego death, that's one of them. Although that's not, ego death is really deceptive, because you need a healthy ego to have healthy boundaries. And if you don't have healthy boundaries, you are not going to be a happy person, because everyone will take advantage of you and you will learn to hate them all. And we don't want that. interesting assortment of cards that showed themselves but did not come out. Why are you here? Who is this Knight of Swords? Who is this Knight of Swords? Dang, it did come out. Well, this was underneath the Knight of Swords, so I was not expecting it to come out because I shuffled it back in. But this is a Ten of Cups in reverse, which the Knight of Swords could be someone that you have been in a connection with. And there's Judgment. What else? Oh, and a King of Wands. A Tiger King of Wands. So the King of Wands can definitely be desperate to free themselves because they don't actually want the responsibility they've got. But if this was a connection between a King of Wands and a Knight of Swords, so we have somebody being very rational, but perhaps in a very manipulative way, and somebody being more impulsive and selfish and acting. Both of you have a temper, honestly. A little too quick to act with anger instead of talking things through. So no surprise that things did not work out. So Ten of Cups in reverse. This should have, could have been a happily ever after. Someone believed it was a happily ever after at some point, and instead somebody is feeling betrayed. And I think this is in your past because Judgment is here, which is a call to become more. Which, if you went from a King of Wands to the Magician, that's more. This is, to use the common terminology, which I dislike because I think it is very misleading and inaccurate. This is one of my divine pairs, the Magician. So the Magician and the High Priestess are one pair, the spiritual aspects of a soul connection pair. And the Empress and the Emperor are the material aspects of a soul connection pair. So this could be a reading for someone who identifies as the masculine of the pair. What the heck is this? Who is the Page of Swords? Oh, okay. All right. Justice is at play now, the sense of fairness. That came out in another reading today. So, this is also a card of karma and balance. See? A lot of them have scales and swords, especially if they've been influenced by the Thoth deck. So, there's been betrayal. Now there's justice. Perhaps somebody has behaved very immaturely So in the upright, the Page of Swords would be someone who is learning, curious. These pages are always initiates. But I think instead we have somebody who behaved either behaved childishly or was pretending to be something they weren't. I mean, they were really this immature, is what I'm trying to say. It could be the Knight of Swords. It could even be the King of Wands. In any case, justice is now at play, so there's going to be a rebalancing. I don't know who betrayed whom, or, you know, the details of that. It doesn't, I'm not sure that matters so much now, because justice is in control now. And there's going to be, well, a reckoning. Not to be too foreboding about it, but a rebalancing is a nicer way to put it. So, somebody didn't want to learn their lesson. Somebody was not as honest as they should have been. But we already had the Seven of Swords come out, so lies, deceit, betrayal. Page of Swords kind of confirms that. I'm not sure whether it's the Page of Swords or the Knight of Swords. I mean, I'm not sure whether this is referring to the Knight of Swords, who was perhaps less mature than they appeared, or the King of Wands, who was really a lot less mature than they appeared. But in either case, it's all come out. And the rebalancing, or karma, however you care to look at it, is required. This could be making amends. This could be a confession. Confession by itself doesn't really get you far, because anybody can say I'm sorry and then go right on doing the same thing they did before. They're like, well, I said I'm sorry. What more do you want from me? I want you to learn your lesson, change your ways, make amends, all these things. So justice would not let you get away with just a simple apology, or them, whoever it is. I'm not sure who that is. Unless these all refer to the same person. Oh, now we have the Queen of Cups. How many queens are you going to get? If you've been working on your Queen of Cups and your Queen of Pentacles, which, you know, doesn't matter whether you're male or female, they're just all aspects of your personality. Two of Swords. Planning. Planning, planning, planning. Oops. So working on being emotional intelligent, working on being financially stable and yet nurturing. Being, oh, that Queen of Pentacles is wearing a rabbit pendant right there. Okay, so planning, perhaps strategizing, working on emotional intelligence, working on being nurturing, being a giver, as well as having the resources to give. The Queen of Pentacles is very well established, capable of more, but still in a very good place. Just needs more belief, perhaps a bit more belief in how far they can go. All right, I think it's time to ask the universe about all this. What does the universe want to say to you, lion person? What does the universe want to say to the lion person? Red flag. Oh my goodness. And I think I'm holding the deck upside down. Serious issues. Be prepared. Proceed with caution. Something is off. What is off? What is the problem here? Go the distance. Steady forward movement. Out. But you need to be very careful. I don't think this red flag is saying stop. It seems to be saying proceed with caution and sensitivity and handle carefully. Also transparency. We've got apologize, transparency, forgiveness, openness, also vulnerability. So that may be scary, understandably so. It looks like there's definitely a desire for a vibrant, abundant life. But how to get there? I think perhaps working with the anima. So we have a new perspective, beginnings, innocence. But also, I think this vulnerability again. Tender in the sense of being, oh my. This keeps coming up lately. All right. Tender in the sense of something being a newborn, like a seedling or a baby. So, twin flames, perhaps you identify as a twin flame. A divine partner. Oh, I like that. I got to remember divine partner. That's much better. The divine partner in a soul connection, however you want to call it. Again, the names really don't matter that much. I'm absolutely positive the universe doesn't care about the names at all. But reflection, catalyst, awakening. Any relationship you're in can act as a catalyst or a mirror, reflecting back to things that you need to deal with, especially since we all tend to project things onto other people. Projection is extremely common. Let's see, what else? So everything has been really positive here about this connection, about moving ahead. Maybe not. I don't know if it's about the connection, actually. It might be. Radiant success. I can really see that for you, Lion person. Going places. Perhaps actually traveling somewhere, but perhaps just going places in the sense of success, you know? This one is a card of success. All those cards and only one fell up, face up. Excellent. What is it? Chandelier. I never know what to make of that card entirely. Status, luxury, elegance, enlightenment, illumination. So it has these really strong spiritual potential aspects to it. But it also seems very material. With status and luxury, elegance, sophistication. So I I have some difficulties with this card. I'm going to have to get some clarification on it. Although it could just simply be that you're making progress towards more success. That's problematic, especially if we're talking about a soul connection, divine partners kind of thing. I'm not sure you can be a divine partner if you don't have your center, if you don't have your alignment, if you haven't got your energy field under control. There's still a need to rise above something, a transition. Oh, two of them. Yep. A radical break from the past and a leap of faith. Okay. Those are really reinforcing each other. Moving on, prosperity. Deep changes. So perhaps a letting go of the materialism of the past. Perhaps a new perspective. Radical break from the past, a radical break from this possibly codependent state. It's a yearning. Forced change. Moving on. Leap of faith. Sudden change in direction. So what? This one says birth of a son. The other one, the little girl one, said birth of a daughter. So perhaps you have newly developed your anima and animus. That would be inaccurately described as your masculine and feminine aspects. Commonly, but inaccurately. So, I'm not sure what to make of this moving on card. I mean, we have the leap of faith, we have forced change, separation is here as well. Now we have moving on, sudden change in direction. But maybe we don't need to know the direction. So what? If you're moving on, if you're moving towards something better, does it matter what the direction is? It's the right direction. That's the important thing, right? It's the right direction, whatever it is. And I think that's the thing to remember. Sorry, I was just picking up some cards off the floor because I didn't want to step on them. So yeah, let's look at archetypes. Interesting. So we have the king, we have agape. Oh. And, oh dear, we have the destroyer. Ooh, all right. Sounds a bit towery. Let's see what it says. Of course, you did have radical change. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, let's start with the king. 12. The king, the ruler, the commander, the emperor. How did I know that was coming? Okay. If our lives are imagined as a kingdom containing the entire spectrum of human experience, the king presides over it all. Through the lens of the king, we assess the state of our land, make decisions, and rule accordingly. Therefore, the king must be thoroughly and regularly vetted so as to avoid corruption. Recognize the dual nature of the king. He is either seated in benevolence and strength, guiding you toward peace, or he is oppressing the weak out of a need to control. There's not much middle ground. Some think of the king as the ultimate expression of the ego, yet the great kings of mythology and history serve from an egoless place. They take their throne with grace and humility, knowing the divine uses them as a channel to heal deep and long-standing discrepancies in the kingdom. So you should be a bringer of balance and peace. When light, benevolence, divine leadership, service, nobility. When dark, oppression, misuse of power, corruption. Once the king's relationship to divinity is broken or challenged, he often acts from a place of fear, scrambling to uphold his image and power. The emperor has no clothes. The king is necessary. He is a bridge between the eternal and the day-to-day. It is also said that it is necessary for the king to die. This is a death of ego, unhealthy ego, I would say. Okay, and now let's go to the destroyer next, because agape is at the end. 23, so 12, 23, and 72. But moving on to 23. The destroyer, the savage, the unexpected, the rejected. The destroyer, the final of the three archetypes in the trio of existence, has necessary yet painful work to do in the world. Culturally, we have an aversion to endings, and we hang on to permanence as a signifier of success. Yet the destroyer pulls the rug out from underneath relationships, jobs, homes, and all forms of security. It's the part of us that wants things to end. Its painful orientation is to uncover our true purpose. The destroyer does not let us linger long in comforts, as it knows not much happens in that realm. With its piercing eyes, it seeks out stagnancy from a distance and the rest becomes history. In the old myths, this is the moment when heads begin to roll, the ground opens up, and castles crumble. Hold on for the ride. The destroyer has arrived. Okay, king. Are you the kind... It did come out in reverse. Are you the kind of king that needs to be kicked out? When light, swift and precise... swift and precise blows that redirect our life. When dark, self-destruction, negativity, unwillingness to rebuild. You do have to rebuild. Consider Picasso's statement, every act of creation is first of all an act of destruction. That sounds like there was a Star Trek movie, Genesis, I think it was called. It was about an act that was a tool that was meant to be a very, very powerful tool of creation. But when it was used incorrectly, it became a very, very powerful tool of destruction. And I think that's what we may be dealing with here. Which one are you? Which path are you on? In old tales, the destroyer sometimes appears as a black dog. Other times it takes the form of gods and goddesses, such as Shiva, Kali, and Apophis. All right. 72, agape. Now this is interesting coming up here because agape is, oops, I went past it. Devotion, unconditional love. What if, instead of putting yourself at the center of your spiritual practice, you put God, Goddess, or nature at the center? How would this change your approach? Such is the energy of agape. It is alive when we are in awe and wonder, our breath taken away by the sacred force that surrounds us, and asks for nothing in return. This card can indicate a spiritual initiation that stretches your capacity to love and serve. You sense the earthly as the heavenly and vice versa. Such an initiatory moment can appear in any form, and like a healing balm to the modern soul, its effects last a lifetime. The agape card may also suggest you reassess what you worship every day, consciously or unconsciously. What are you elevating? Where does the sacred ladder you climb ultimately lead to? When light, service, reverence, honor, joy. When dark, spiritual bypassing and righteousness. Agape can also be felt as an overwhelming love of family, partner, community. Recognize it by a deep swell of gratitude. The Greek word agape informs the English word agape, to have the mouth. Agape is to be awestruck by something so of breathtaking delight. We are made humble once again. And I guess that might be the destroyer's role as well, to make us humble in a different kind of way. It's interesting you have such two different forces coming up for you at the same time. Although it must be very uncomfortable for you, honestly. But if the destroyer has swept through your life, that would mean a kind of tower experience, I think. And if you are experiencing agape, perhaps you have found a way to be grateful for it. Well, this has been quite a reading. I am wishing you all the best.